Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Dr. Hawthorn here, and today we have a special episode for you. I hope you enjoy and did some exercise from the previous 5 episodes of Blender tutorial. If you are a new beginner, I hope you have at least learned how to do basic transformation, modeling, texturing, lighting, framing, and rendering. In today's episode, if you recall, on the second episode, we gave you an exercise, a bonus file. That is the messy classroom I have here, and I hope you have already tidied it up. But today, I'm going to show you how I'm going to tidy it up, because this is a very good exercise to practice basic transformation like rotation, scaling, and grabbing. If you open this file and like how you try to get used to a file that you just got, or maybe your colleagues have given you this new file that you want to get yourself into, that you want to get used to what's happening here, then you can pick up from here to do manipulation, to manipulate the meshes, make a rendering of your own, that you can try to practice with this. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to get myself into a new file, like how I am getting myself into the files that my students sent me. Opening this, I can see, or at least to get very quick look at what I have here. I have a corner of a room, and I have something that is in a crazy scale that is clearly too big, and a whiteboard that is, that is rotated, tilted in a way that I don't desire. And something is on top of the wall which is ridiculous, and the calculator that is passing through the countertop. Well, all these and this, I more or less will have the idea by looking at the viewport alone. But I want to show you the outliner. And this is how I would get myself to know this specific project and try to understand if the student had get some help. If the student is new to the software, you can easily find some hints to tell you that he had some help before, or he built everything by himself. How do we do that? It's by looking at the organization of the outliner. When we open this outliner, and we can see that usually if you are completely new and you are not used to how models are built, you will see a lot of cubes with no specific names, like cube 001, cube 002, cube 003, and cylinder 001, camera 004, something like that. But if you are more used to Blender and if you're creating bigger and bigger scenes, I urge you to always try to rename everything you put into the projects. If you are a bit more experienced, then you will probably see some names, or if you are sending your file to other people, they will see some names that you made to the elements you created. In this case, we have collections. If we turn off all the items here, if you close the collections, you will see this like a container that is the icon for collections. And when you open the first collection, I did not rename it, but I have one camera inside. Very clearly that this camera is the only camera I have in this scene. And if I press 0 on the numpad, I am changing to camera view. I can jump in and out the camera view also by toggling this button. This can only work when you have at least one camera in the scene. If I want to add another camera, I will use Shift A to add camera. Or if you don't remember the hotkey, you can just click add here and add a camera. When you add another camera, you will see that the camera is actually hidden under table collection. And that is because the table collection is selected. And anything you add to the scene after selecting this very collection will go directly under this collection. If you want to move this camera, to organize this camera to the collection where the first camera is, I can drag and drop it back to this collection. And if I want to add a camera directly under this collection, make sure you remember to click this collection and add another camera and this will go under the camera collection. And if you want to delete the camera, you can press X, and it will ask if you really want to delete the selected object here if your mouse is hover to the viewport. If your mouse is here above the outliner, then you just have to press X to get rid of the camera you have selected. I select the other one, X. Then I deleted another camera I have just added. Looking at the other collection, I have table and I have a plane, which is the floor of the entire scene. I have the tabletop and the four legs of the tabletop. On my other tutorial series, I have talked about the parenting and joining function in Blender. In this case, because the same level, I have only plane and a tabletop, and the second level I have the four legs, meaning I am having a parenthood of the table. I am parenting these four legs to the tabletop. Two things I can do to fix this, or just to tidy it up a little bit, is to break the parenthood and join them together. Or I can keep the parenthood by just looking at the scene like this. In this case, if I want to join them together, I will select all four legs and to the tabletop using Control or Command J to have them joined. As you can see, I have the table here and then four other cylinders. And these other cylinders, if you select them, and you can see that they are highlighted here. It's like the rubber buffer that I have underneath each table leg. I forgot to join them also with the tabletop. So what I can do here is to select these four buffers and the table, Command J to join them together. If you look at the leg here, the shade is a bit weird. When you look at the leg like this, and whatever mesh you have, if the shade is like this, it's probably because you have the auto smooth on or shade smooth on. But the shade smooth is on without auto smooth. And this function is for you to create a better visual of the mesh if you want to smooth it out. Just to be more precise, is that in terms of smoothness, this is super smooth, but the shading is weird. In this case, I would turn on Shade Auto Smooth just to even it out. What is the use of Shade Smooth? Actually, it will be even better if you look at the pencil here. The pencil here, you can see that from afar, it looks very rounded. It is a cylinder. But if you take a closer look, you can see the faces because a cylinder is made of faces. A lot of faces around to make a circular shape to create the cylinder, right? In this case, if you want to keep the faces, so be it. If you don't want to keep the faces, you want to have a very smooth skin of the pencil, what you can do is to select the pencil, right click on the mouse, Shade Auto Smooth. When you do that, you can see Shade Auto Smooth and the pencil here, it becomes very smooth around. In this case, I don't want that. I want to keep it like this. I will keep it like this. Let's move and continue to look at the collection. The table, I have a plane, which is not very ideal. Actually, the plane can go to collection or room, depending how you like to have the scene organized. But I will put it here under collection because it's not actually part of the room, but something to help with the rendering. If I look at the chair, I have two chairs. One is on the floor and the other one is on the table. Some of my students will say that I like it to be small. It looks like a miniature. If it is a miniature, okay, have it on the table. If it is something that is scaled down and you want to scale it up again, I will select the chair, scale up, and to put it down to the floor. Well, if I use one to toggle the front view, you can see that this chair is not actually sitting on top of the ground. It is passing through the ground. To align any objects, I would encourage you to go to the orthographic view, front, side, top, to see where it is located, if it is passing through another object, if it is well aligned, and if the scale of this chair is the same as this chair. Because they are industrial collection, they are industrial production, they should be the same, right? Identical objects. In this case, I would say they are of similar scale, and I am satisfied with this. But I can also do one trick is to get rid of one of the chair and clone it with duplication. To do duplication, we use the hotkey Shift D. When I press Shift D, you can see on the outliner I am creating another chair and I can grab it around the scene. So now I have chairs. 3 chairs, but looking from the top view, you can see that they are passing through each other. I'm getting this here to the side. So you can go from the front view and the side view to see if the rubbish bin is passing through the leg of the chair. Luckily, it's not passing through. I will just keep it like this. For the cup, I have the cup and the plates. Why do I specifically do a cup collection here? Is that the cup is of the correct scale, but the plates is elsewhere. And my students always struggle with finding the plate. What I can do is to select the plate from the outliner, pressing dots to recenter. Now I can find my plates, and these plates, it looks like a puddle of water. My students always say that it's a puddle of water, and some of them they even put it to the window or to the wall. They said that vertically placed it looks like a smashed egg. It depends on how you have your creativity built. You can do whatever you want to the scene. This is the plate, and I want to put this cup on top of the plate. So I'm doing this from the top view and putting it on top of the plate. And then I can go to the front view. I can go to the front view and see these 2 plate, these 2 meshes if they are correctly placed. So I'm turning on the X-ray, seeing the plate like this. It has a curve in the center, and the cup is sitting right above the surface of the plate. It is correctly placed. I'll just leave it here and then continue with the list. Stationery, I have a book cover, and then under the book cover, I have the book block, which means what? Which means that the book block is the child of the book cover. In this case, I find it is too complicated. I think it is too complicated. So I want to select the book block because it's the child, and then the book cover as the parent. Right click on the mouse, keep transformation but clear the parenthood. Then I can join them together by pressing Command J, and then this book block 2 and book cover 2, I can also do the same. Select the 2 of them, breaking the bondage by keeping the transformation. Command J to join. 3, the same, breaking the parenthood, keeping the transformation. Command J to join. Now, these 3 books, they are just one mesh each one. And then, if I'm selecting the 3 of them, I can move around the table very easily. Calculator. Now I need to find the calculator. So I select this from the outliner and press dot on the keyboard. This calculator is passing through the countertop, and I don't want that. I want to have it placed on the table or on the countertop, right? What I can do is, if intuitively, I would do from the side, trying to rotate it back to horizontal level and then try to just grab it up a bit. In this case, it looks more or less fixed, right? But if you look at the number on this transformation panel on the right hand side, you can see that the rotation on the x-axis is not quite 0. It's far from being 0 because it has decimal. And in this case, it means that if you are zooming the object really closely, you will see that it's slightly tilted. From the visual point of view, it doesn't matter because no one is going to look at the scene like this in a very close distance. But if you want to be very precise, what you can do is just zero it out, and then you will have this completely fixed. What I can also do is from the very first place, I press 0 to the X rotation, and then I just have to lift it up a bit. Then I have the eraser, which my students always mistaken it as the rubbish bin. Now I have this on top of one of the chair, and it's super huge. Applying the same technique as what we did to the calculator, what I can do is to zero out the rotation, and then the scale is messed up. Anyway, I can just use S to scale it down. When I use S to scale it down, I can go to the front view, front orthographic with 1 on the numpad, put it on top of the table, not quite on top of the table, so I use 7 to go to top of the graphic and put it really on the table. The eraser is back to the table. Then I can see I have one long pencil and one short pencil. The short pencil is already on the table. That is fine, completely fine. But the long pencil, I want to adjust it. Again, using the same technique, I can use 0 to the X rotation, meaning now it is horizontally placed. The scale is 13 times bigger than what I expected. What I can do is to make it 1 to 1 to 1. Remember, 1 to 1 is the most ideal scale in Blender. So now I can put it back on top above the table from the top of the graphic, and then going to the front view and place it down along the z-axis to have this placed on top of the table. And then I have the umbrella. The umbrella is another objects that I want to draw your attention to because it has a lot of modifiers and it has a parent. First one is the bone of the umbrella, of course. And then I have the umbrella shield. And then I have the branches of the umbrella. So in this case, I have 3 elements. All of them are parented. The branches they are parented to the umbrella, and the umbrella is parented to the bone. And now, if you want to break the bondage, we break it one by one, selecting the branches first, select the umbrella, right-click on the mouse, clearing the parenthood by keeping the transformation, and then Command J to join them. They became one mesh. And then this umbrella, as you can see, they are not parented anymore because they are broken. The bondage is broken. What I can do is select umbrella here, select the bone at the same time and join them. The umbrella like this, as one mesh, very clean and tidy. Then I have flowers, I have the vase, and I have the stem of one of the flowers, parenting the petals of that flower, and then the other stem, other petals, and then the third flower, other petals. What I can do is I can just select the 3 of them and do join, and I select join, select join. I have one flower here, one flower here, one flower here, and the vase. And these I can just join them together or creating a parenthood. I can do that by selecting the 3 flowers, and at last I want the vase because I want the vase to be the parent. Right click on the mouse, objects. This is the parenthood. I grab the vase, I grab around the flowers are going along with it, and if I want to place it along the z-axis on top of the table, I can easily do so. Then the room is AC controller. I have it on top of the wall. I want to reset it. Very easily, what I can do is to reset the rotation from -90 to 0 and -20 to 0. -0 on the y-axis, it doesn't matter because it's 0 degree. And now it is straightened. And from the front view, actually, I can put it down to the lighting switch. And from the side, I want to double check it, and this AC switch is actually passing through the wall, so I'm going to just grab it out and sitting on top of the wall. The counter has no problem, so I will skip. The light switch has no problem. I will skip. Pipe controller, this is one of the lost codes. If you look at this here, actually I created this together with the second one, the cold water pipe controller, but this one is under the counter. I want to just have this put under the same level. I cannot just drag and drop because it's a parenting thing. This one, I will want to see where it is parented to. If I am seeing this, the parent must be from the countertop, but I don't find it very clearly. I will turn on the X-ray and see it is from this point. And that is not the floor of the room, but let's see. This controller is under the counter. So if I'm moving the counter, the controller, the knob is moving along with. And this is not very ideal if I have the second one left behind. To select this one first, and then secondly the countertop, and do the parenting. It is parented and you can see that they are of the same level and put side by side. Then I have the whiteboard, and the whiteboard, very straightforward. It is tilted. I am going to reset the rotation here, 0, 0, 0. When I reset the rotation, and from the front, it's okay. From the side, it's okay. And you can see the dashed line here. It means that the corners of the whiteboard, they are separated from the main whiteboard, but they are parented. So I will just leave this here. I don't think that is much of a problem. So I will just leave this here and move on to the last, blinds. The blinds, I use a generator to generate the blinds. It has nothing to do. Everything is fine. If you look at the room like this, then you probably think that everything is fine except the bin. So I'm going to search for the bin. How am I going to search for the bin? I don't know where it is. From the outliner, we missed that. So when you select the bin here, you can see that this icon of a mesh is highlighted. If I don't select the bin here, for example, if I'm selecting the floor, then the highlight here will be gone. Bin is considered one of the stationery. I should open this collection, selecting the bin again, and see, oh, the reason why I missed the bin because it's not named the bin. It is named the plastic bag. And now I want to show you as the end of this clip, I want to show you one trick. That is to reset the transformation. And as I have told you many times, the basic transformation, we have 3 of them. The first one is grabbing, second one is rotating, third one is scaling. And to do so, I have the hotkey G for grabbing, R for rotation, S for scaling. To reset that, I can take the mesh here, I select the mesh, and use Option if you are having a Mac. Option G to reset all the transformation of the location. Or if you are having a PC, that is Alt G. And then for rotation is Alt R or Option R in Mac. Then I can reset the rotation number to 0. Then last is the scaling. I can use Option S. But as you can see that if the scale is 1 to 1 to 1 is definitely too big. Before resetting the scale, actually it is better. I would use this scale instead of 1 to 1 to 1. But to be more precise and to have this set up for later, to make us more convenient in terms of other manipulation to this mesh, I would apply this transformation. And to apply this transformation, I would select this mesh and use Command A or Control A depending on whether it's a Mac OS or the PC that you are using. I want to apply the scale. When I do apply scale, I will change these 3 numbers to 1 to 1 to 1 without really scaling up the bin again. Control A, Command A, scale. Look, now the location is 0, 0, 0, meaning that it is mapped to the world origin. Rotation is 0, 0, 0 because I built it upright. The bin is upright. The scale is 1 to 1 to 1. It is the desired scale of the bin here for this room. I will grab it on top of the ground, check from the top view, put it outside because I don't want it to cross the umbrella. This bin is really on top of the floor. This is how I will tidy up the room. I hope you can follow, and I hope you can find your own way to tidy up the room the way you want to be. Next time we will come back to do some coloring as a recap of the previous tutorial, and then we will try to do some lighting and rendering. Stay tuned. Bye!